Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third and final day of this year's SWIB conference. I am Osma Suominen from the National Library of Finland, and I am moderating this session on lightning talks. And we have 5 exciting lightning talks, and there is only 4 minutes of time per presenter. And unfortunately, this means that there is no time for questions, but please do comment or ask questions on the SWIB discussion area on the forum. You can continue the discussion there even if we don't have time for them during or within the session. So the first talk will be by Jim Hahn, and the topic is Semantic Web Agents Redux from Knowledge Representation to AI-Driven Discovery. So please, Jim.
Yes, thank you so much, and I'm very pleased to be with you here on the third day of the Semantic Web and Libraries Conference. Today I'm going to talk about revisiting some older ideas and connecting them with the thing that a lot of people are thinking about now, which is generative AI. And so, yes, this talk is about revisiting sort of the original vision of the semantic web, and this is a great place to talk about this. So originally, I mean, this paper by Tim Berners-Lee that appeared in Scientific American, which I feel like gets cited a lot, but maybe not read or reread enough. Is this, in this paper, there's this theory on how intelligent agents would be using ontologies to take meaningful actions on behalf of users. And I thought that was a very compelling thing for the web to be able to do. Of course, we've seen it perhaps not materialize, but I think with the current crop of generative AI, we have like a different way to get there where we could completely sidestep this knowledge representation and just use like probabilistic and statistical capabilities. But that has its own problems too. So what about maybe a hybrid, integration of both, where we can employ strategies in both, like some classic semantic web principles like RDF and structured knowledge, and combine that with generative AI capabilities, and that could actually fulfill parts of the original how we do this, not just what we do it. So BIBFRAME is one that I've been working with a lot. It's a formal semantic representation. And then I've also done a lot with ShareVDE, and that's comprised of BibFrame clusters. So we have our catalog in this BibFrame model. And then when we query our BibFrame APIs from ShareVDE, we're asking for these pre-computed inferences over this like formal representation. And we could do things like get a chat response that's based on BibFrame and ShareVDE APIs, and start to implement this conceptualization that BibFrame is helping usher in, which is that people are looking for like, they're not necessarily wanting to see long lists of items. They want to see like the concepts. And so we have like the works prominently here, and then sort of a hierarchy, a tree view of items that fall under that work. And then we can also do things with pulling in other linked data, like knowledge graphs. So these are from Wikidata. We can pull in possible answers to other questions because we have relationships in a broader graph of knowledge. And so I feel like there's a really exciting place to be in revisiting some of these foundations. And this is some prototype work that's happening at the Penn Libraries. So thanks so much for your time, and I'll pass along to our next speaker.
Thank you, Jim. So the next speaker is Jael Castro with the title Semantic Metadata for Software and AI Models. Sorry, we can't hear you, Jael. Are you muted? We can't hear you. Are you maybe speaking to the wrong microphone? Please check your microphone settings.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so I think I will go back and I will try to be quick. So I'm going to talk about initiatives at CERVMET, the Information Center for Life Sciences and NFDI and metadata for software and AI models that come to complement metadata on bibliographic data, scholarly publications, and so on. You can find the slides on Zenodo already. So the metadata for research software that we are using is based on schema.org. Particularly, we have been looking into code meta and bioschemas. Code meta is coining some terms that are specific for research software, while bioschemas on top of schema.org and code meta is offering some guidance regarding what is minimum, recommended, and optional when you are describing research software. On top of these two initiatives, we are creating the matching actionable software management plans. Software management plans aligned to FAIR for research software and good practices for research software development. And we are creating this matching actionability layer, meaning a metadata extension on top of schema.org and code meta. You can see here that we are also extending what was initially done in the Research Data Alliance for matching actionable data management plans, adding different elements that are needed for software management plans. We have our extension of type and properties, but same as bioschemas does, we also provide some profiles, meaning usage guidance. And everything is on Zenodo, and you can also visit our web pages for more information on this. We know that metadata is not easy, and it is very annoying for researchers when you ask them information that it is already publicly available. So we are also working in our project Konos in a metadata extractor. We already have one working on top of GitHub repositories, and right now we are working on one on top of GitLab repositories. Another one for Zenodo and Codeberg will come next year. And on the other side, we are also working on structured metadata for AI models. We are doing this together with the Research Data Alliance, a FAIR for ML interest group, and the vocabulary is actually called also FAIR for ML, and you can find it in w3.org FAIR for ML. It is using as base the model cards, and it is putting an extension based on schema.org for these kind of elements that you can find in the model cards to represent AI models. We have this vocabulary already in action in our tool mlentory.cevmet.de, where you can find models that come from Hugging Face, from AI for Life for biomedical images, and from OpenML. And to make it easier, also for machines, we provide the JSON-LD, and we are using signposting and arrow crates so machines can directly get the metadata. We will provide this information also as a knowledge graph. We are working on that right now, and it will be available in Zenodo. Our founders, and thank you very much. Any question can come on the chat, I suppose. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jael. And the next speaker is David Linke, and the topic is collaboratively maintained SKOS vocabularies using Excel and GitHub. Please, David.
Yeah, thank you. So let me introduce you to you our domain-agnostic toolkit for community-curated SKOS vocabularies. This was developed in the NFDI for CUT project that is part of the NFDI initiative in Germany on the National Research Data Infrastructure. The idea behind it is that we built upon Excel as a familiar user interface for the people to enter the information about collections and concepts in the domain. And we combine that with the modern approaches that have come out of open source software development. So according to this, we use a code sharing platform, and we have built it initially on GitLab, but then moved over to GitHub. And here on GitHub, we store in the repository everything about the vocabulary in form of turtle files, and also the documentation that people need in order to understand what we do in the vocabulary. And on top of that, GitHub also offers a lot of features, like, for example, we could host and build the documentation about the project. We could also generate the shared artifacts of the vocabulary, which is in Turtle or XML via the GitHub pages storage. And of course, we have the way to give the users access to the always current version of our Excel file. So if a user wants to contribute, they download the vocabulary file, change it, and then use the GitHub workflows. So they create a pull request. In the pull request description, they can communicate to the maintainers what they want to change, exactly why, and give some background about it. Then automatically we assign reviewers to all pull requests by the GitHub automation. And then you can discuss about the changes, and the contributors can maybe update once more. And in addition to this human-to-human communication, there's also a pipeline started in the background where the uploaded Excel file is checked for errors, then converted into Turtle format, validated with Shackle, and then we also regenerate the documentation. So you see that everything works. Then there can happen some iterative improvement with additional submissions or just changes based on review. Final state is approval by editors that you can also configure in GitHub, that you always need an approval before you're able to merge. And then finally, the merge step happens. And upon merge, another pipeline is started, and we will rebuild the vocabulary that is shared out of the individual Turtle files, and then also publish the updated documentation once again. And this is now used since a year and works very well for our vocabulary. And so if someone wants to do the same again, we try to make it as easy as possible for you to build upon what we did. So we have a Python library that is then also shared with the Python package. And this does mainly this two-way conversion between spreadsheet and SKOS Turtle. And it also does all the validation steps that are required. And we provide a GitHub repository template so that you could clone and use a start for your vocabulary, which you want to maintain in the same way. And of course, like if you need advanced features, you can look into our voc4cat repository, which is always built upon this template. So it's not something where we just put out a template that we don't use. We built upon the template and then have set up the W3ID org redirects for the Perl identifiers, have some vocabulary guidelines, and we have also an automatic integration into Zenodo so that every new release gets published with a new DOI. Thanks.
Thank you, David. The next speaker is Ed Summers, and the topic is JSON-LD context and framing for BIBFRAME data in the Bluecore project. Please, Ed.
Hi. Yeah, thank you for SWIB. Yeah, so I was going to talk really quickly about BIBFRAME, which is a vocabulary for bibliographic metadata. And this idea of LOUD, which we've heard about previously in the conference, this idea of linked open usable data. So I thought I'd start by actually not talking about BIBFRAME, but two very popular linked data applications, which we don't always think of as linked data. So the first is this, the Fediverse, which you may know as the Mastodon social media platform. It's actually an ecosystem of many different pieces of software that all communicate together using the same linked data vocabulary called activity streams. And then also the IIIF project, which makes cultural heritage media objects available on the web. And these are used very heavily by lots of people around the world. They have many different software implementations, and they also have something in common, which is that they both use JSON-LD as part of a core part of the way that the data is shared. And this is an idea from this loud idea from the linked art project that JSON is probably the most common data format on the web apart from HTML. And so using that kind of makes the vocabulary data available. But it's not just any JSON-LD. So both projects use this idea of context, which is a way of saying what vocabularies are present in the JSON-LD. And also the JSON-LD is framed, so it has a particular shape and people can use it in a very predictable way. Now, I don't want to pick on Library of Congress here because there are other institutions that do the exact same thing. But yeah, this is some JSON-LD for a book in BIBFRAME from Library of Congress, and I think for the book Gravity's Rainbow. But this is JSON, but it's a list of objects. It's the property names are URLs. You kind of need an RDF library to use this data, which is not terrible. People use RDF libraries, but yeah, it's not taking advantage of JSON as a format. And so this is the same data, but after it's had a context added to it and it's been framed around a particular resource. And you can see the properties are easier to read as long as you know English, which is another discussion about this, I guess. But yeah, it's much more usable by people that just know JSON. The reason why I brought this up as a topic was that I've been working on this project called Bluecore, which is a BibFrame storage layer for Marva and Sinopia, which are two different editors. And one of the things that we discovered in the process is that it's actually useful to frame and add context to the BibFrame data so that other clients can potentially use it as well. So I guess I'll just end there. Yeah, be useful to have context and framing for BibFrame data. And if you're interested in learning, or if you know about people doing this work already, please get in touch with me. Thanks.
Thank you, Ed. And the last speaker of this lightning talk session is Samy Ateia with the topic LLM-based information extraction to support scientific literature research and publication workflows. Samy, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, so hi, my name is Samy Ateia. I'm a PhD student in information science at the University of Regensburg in Germany. And I will present a quick overview of ongoing work that we do for the semantic aspect parts of the National Research Data Infrastructure Project for and with computer science in Germany. So what is the motivation for this project? More and more papers are published every year, but the time we have to do literature research stays limited. So better tools that make relevant research visible and easily understandable and synthesizable could help with this problem. In our already published work at TPDL, we set out to explore LLMs for this task. We basically processed the whole full text of papers with LLMs to extract specific semantic concepts that can then be used as structured metadata to compare, link, and find relevant work. We manually created a test set for predefined concepts in the business processing domain in computer science and evaluated different in-context learning approaches and models with this gold standard. So what were the results? The key findings were that open source LLMs are competitive with proprietary ones, and even naive few-shot learning improves performance on free text and categorical answers. So what do we do with these results? Our main goal for next year is to make this approach available to broader research community in a way that ensures it's usable even after our project runs out. And the idea is therefore to develop a plugin that can be used locally with Zotero. This has the advantage that we can reuse the full text access from Zotero in the institutional user context and augment existing workflows that are using Zotero. We also want to explore if we can fine-tune smaller open weight models to run on local user systems, essentially decoupling the project from external proprietary services. Finally, we envision a lightweight search interface that stores extracted crowdsourced embeddings associated with free metadata of papers to enable efficient global semantic search and not just in your local collection. So what are the key takeaways? Open weight LLMs are ready for semantic extraction, and we plan to build these tools into Zotero. Please reach out if you have ideas or want to collaborate on the topic. Thanks.
Thanks, Samy. That was really quick. And with that, we have finished all the lightning talks. And I guess we are moving on to the next session a little bit ahead of time, actually.